What's going on, guys? John out here with you. It is Thursday, December 31st, 2020. It is New Year's Eve. How's everybody doing out there? Normally, every time in the year-end review, I have a big video to share with you and a lot of thoughts and musings, and normally sometimes I'd go live. Honestly, can't do that right now because there's not much going on this year. There's not much going on with me. I know a lot of you have probably been up to no good or you're getting stuff done, and I understand it. I'm glad for all of you. I'm glad that everybody was able to make it through this year. But as far as all the interesting updates myself, if I sat here and made a really long video, nobody's going to want to hear about it. So before COVID hit, so that meaning sometime before March, I got a chance to live with Lauren at her house as her parents went on vacation and stuff to Florida. Unfortunately, just a couple weeks into March, it got cut short. But, long story short, everything went pretty damn good, honestly. We found out that we were good living partners. I know we've been together for a long time now because I was 21 and she was 18. So it had been a long time, for this to be coming. Give her the engagement ring last year around Christmas and then get a chance to move in and stuff and get all that going on. And honestly, it went very well. I know that there was a few hiccups here and there with her being not used to having her parents be so far away, and some scares here and there, and maybe one fight, if I want to say that, but nothing too spectacular and all that, nothing too earth shattering. Everything went about as good as it could go. And unfortunately, because of COVID and all that, it got cut short. I got a chance to, move things in, get some of the normal active lifestyles and all that in there, and get used to each other, and everything was pretty damn good. So after with all the COVID stuff, it was a long, long wait until the end of the year. I was going in between working at Hanson Marketing. I was doing some stuff still with Orchard Lake St. Mary's with the hockey team. And then I was also working at the Detroit Skate Club all the way through that time up until about March. And now, not much going on in the job front. I've been having chances for a little while in the last few months looking around, and obviously, there's not much there. So, kind of stuck at this point. So, going through the next few months, obviously, it's been tough. And then going into around, November and all of that, we had that PlayStation 5 previews, the Xbox Series X and the S, getting a chance to get all that stuff going out during E3, which all that was kind of abandoned, but you get those little videos in there, and PlayStation said that they weren't going to have all this, notice right away. It was going to be advanced notice. We went through all that hoopla, and I made some videos. Long story short, I do have the PlayStation 5. So, with all that stuff at GameStop being one of the first 7 in the line, was able to play it, was able to enjoy it right away. Between Spider-Man Ultimate Edition, which included Remastered, which I hadn't played on PS4, and then Miles Morales, which I haven't even gotten to yet because I'm still finishing Spider-Man, and then Demon Souls and NBA 2K21. And NBA 2K21 has been such a grind that it's kind of taken some of the time away, in between the intermediate of what I've always tried to do, which is, the NHL club and some of those other things. So what I found, especially through this year, again, I can reiterate this to you, NHL 21 fucking blows. And, that really doesn't change much as far as NHL 15 and 21 between the PS4 and the Xbox One because it has been. It's been that way since the 360 and PS3 since the inception when everything was good. We turned to PS4 and Xbox One and it sucks because EA doesn't really care. We get all that. And I can sit here and say, and you can ask questions, why are you still playing that game? Because it was one of the things that I very still held dear as far as competition in sports gaming. It's something that I could play at a high level and enjoy very much. And can't do that as much anymore because the playoff window in NHL 21 is quite different. So instead of just the end of the month, you win 4 games, you get a banner, and all that stuff is done. Now it's all moved to a playoff window, which it's between 25 to 28 days, something like that, and you have to play as many games as possible within that time period. So it's about 125 games played, at least you have to play, and then at least over like a 90 something win percentage they have to occur in that time. So it's pretty much impossible in order to get a banner now. You can't really enjoy it. So unless you're a group that has a mass amount of people that can constantly get games in, you're not going to sniff any of that success. Not to mention, you also have to play outside an outdoor rink that doesn't change at all. You're playing in the same fucking rink every single time until that playoff window is done. So really nothing to be seen of there to enjoy, but you're still going to get videos from me because it's one of the last things I can still play on the PS4 up until everyone gets a PS5 and we can start doing some of the group content between NBA 2K21 and Rec Center and Pro-Am games. I know I'm going to have to still wait probably until March until everybody can get a PS5, but still, I have my guys built in the interim. I can try to get you some video reviews once I finish Spider-Man, once I can try to get through Demon Souls. I know it's notoriously difficult, but I did beat it on the PlayStation 3 in the initial release. I'm sure once I get back into it here on the PS5, I can do more of the same, because people say it's the easiest one to play, and I agree. You just really have to be in the mood to play Demon Souls, because you're going to get your ass kicked. But thankfully, with the SSD and all that stuff inside the PS5, it's a hell of a lot better. So, I want to talk about a few other things here before I close this stuff out. You know, there's a lot of you guys out there that mentioned to me, and I've seen it throughout the year. We all talked about how 2020 sucks balls. Really, there really is no other way to say it. A lot of you guys ended up getting COVID. A lot of you guys ended up surviving. Unfortunately, some of you did not, especially if you were older. You can sit here and talk about how you think COVID is not a big deal because, you know, you're young, you can survive it, or it's this and that. It's no worse than the flu. But really, guys, if you're doing that, you're just being disingenuous to everyone that already lost their lives and suffered through it when they couldn't save their loved ones from this horrible disease that we have out here. So, if 2020 really has taught you anything, is stop being a piece of shit, be as good as you can to people, and live your life the best way that you can. Just be good to people. I mean, I have to say this every single year, but it feels like now that we have this freaking crazy disease out there that I have to remind you guys to stop being idiots. It's out there. Take care of yourselves. Take care of other people. Be good to people. That's what you really have to do. I know a lot of our plans got put on hold, especially mine and Lauren and all that stuff. I mean, God, I would love to get married, have a house, things like that. Just the simple dreams. I'm not one of those extravagant guys. I don't need everything. I got everything I want with Lauren. I just wish I could go forward on these fucking plans. But, you know, it's just, you know, it's everything is put a little bit of a strain on there now. You got to wait and get things done and continue the grind as much as you can. But I'm here to tell you again, as you guys have all told me, 2020 wasn't even your worst year, and I feel bad for a lot of them that end up saying that. But still, if anything, it's taught me to, you know, continue to grind, stay in the fight, and just give your best effort every day. I mean, look, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do here isn't really fucking groundbreaking. I understand that. This is a really boring channel. There's not a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of video game sports related. Maybe some of you think of it as entertainment. I really appreciate your interactions wholeheartedly, honestly. But it's nothing really groundbreaking here. But still, I like the stuff that I do. You know, it takes some of that time. I know I wish I could use it toward work and money and things like that. But if I didn't have these hobbies, didn't have these sports, didn't go out there and exercise, didn't do all these other things, didn't try to keep myself busy, then what the hell are we even doing on this earth? I know there's a million things of dreams that you want to go out there and accomplish. I'm not one of those ones that can give you emotional support and advice because there's a lot of things I wish I could do that I'll never be able to do. But at the same time, you could say, you know, video games, all these things are a waste of time, but it's not a waste of time to me. It's one of the ways that I can end up getting through the day and just continue to, you know, grind and put videos out and do other things and just have fun and enjoy life because pretty soon, I mean, all the parents are getting older and all that, I'm going to end up being on my own pretty much closer to homelessness than ever owning a house. So I understand that we're all getting older. So don't give up. I mean, life's going to continue to suck, especially even in 2021. And granted to say, go ahead and get that vaccine and do everything else you can. But if you're looking forward to, you know, having kids and other things like that, I mean, maybe you're not even able to get that vaccine because you don't even know what the vaccine is going to do to you. And now we have this super strain of COVID that just entered Colorado and it's making its way through the United States. So don't lose hope, don't give up, and just continue to do the things that you need to do, social distance and all of that. Hopefully we can all get through this. And if this is our new normal, then we have to all just suck it up and move on and continue to do all the right things until it goes away. Because the more that we continue to party and the more that we do all these other things, like I constantly see next door by my house, but I won't say anything, uh, it's not going to go away. So you just continue to do the best things that you can do, honestly, and continue to live your life and be the best person that you can be. That's all I can tell you to do. I can't tell you how to live your life, but just try to enjoy it as best as you can because we don't have long on this earth, and you never know what happens, and you never know what's going to cut it short. So, all right, there's a lot of other things that I want to mention as far as gaming. I know I give out awards at the end of the year. Granted, there was a couple games I didn't play, but I feel like I still need to freaking mention here because it was just outlandish, or I enjoyed it, or everything else. So, all right, I heard my cousin David talk about this. I think he's turned into a PC elitist now. He thinks that consoles are going to go the way of the dodo bird. I see the Series X, the S, the PlayStation 5, especially the Series X and the X with the Xbox Game Pass, all of that stuff, and all the emulation out there. I really don't think it's going the way of the dodo bird, but I digress. Everybody's sitting here talking about now the much maligned Microsoft and PC exclusive Cyberpunk 2077. Boy, didn't that one suck, huh? Jeez. I mean, come on, guys. CD Projekt Red. If that was one of those things, and granted, I understand. I didn't get a chance to play this game yet. I had a PS4 copy just as much as everyone else. I saw some of the stuff. I said, screw it. I'm going to return this. And I didn't, I reneged on that deposit. Couldn't do it. So what ended up happening? I saw a lot of those videos. I saw a lot of the stuff from Young Yaz channel and Review Tech USA and Digital Foundry. If you haven't followed Digital Foundry on YouTube, go follow those guys because they definitely give you smooth as butter, 60 frames per second if the games actually run on that in the new consoles, and they let you know everything that's going on and the best places to play and how to play them. Like that channel a lot. They give a lot of breakdowns. I know it's a little techy, but for those that want that kind of advice, you follow Digital Foundry on YouTube. So here's the thing. Cyberpunk 2077 CD Projekt Red. Pretty much now you can talk about it in terms of EA, Activision, and Blizzard. They've joined the dark side. You want to go ahead and release the game early? You know what? You could have just put it on PC. And all of you PC elitists out there, hate to break it to you, it runs like absolute dog shit, even on a high-end PC, with glitches galore. I know there's patches and hotfixes, and I know they take longer to come on consoles, but CD Projekt Red, you done fucked up. You really did. So, what I want to say here is, obviously, if you're going to play that game, wait for the PS5 version. And guys, did you really, in CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077, did you have to have dildos and sex shops all over the game? Was that really necessary? Endless amounts of sex, up to the point where it was probably as much as disturbing as Last of Us Part 2, the Abby sex scene, which I very highly detailed in this Last of Us 2 review that I did earlier in the year. And how I can transition into Cyberpunk 2077, Last of Us Part 2, probably the two worst games of 2020. Easily, I can probably say that even though a lot of us haven't played Cyberpunk. Look, I know a lot of you love The Last of Us Part 2 in the sense it won the Critics' Gamer Choice of the Year in the Jeff Keighley Video Game Awards, for whatever that's worth. That's just paid journalism. All right? That's what that is. The game wasn't good. How come all the video game players didn't award that the Game of the Year? They gave it to Ghost of Tsushima. Good job, guys. That's how you do it. You know what? There was a lot of games this year. There was a lot of stuff that sucked about 2020. But there was a lot of good games. No, and I know this isn't a full release, and I know a lot of you say I'm not supposed to talk about it like this. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 was the best game of the year for me, bar none. It took everything I loved from the original PlayStation release of Final Fantasy VII and did everything else. Obviously, voice acting, graphics, storytelling, gameplay, all that stuff, turned it into not only, it wasn't a turn-based RPG, but it still had elements of that turn-based RPG inside it. It was an absolute gem. It made me laugh. It made me cry. I enjoyed the gameplay. Absolutely splendid. And look, I understand we don't know what the hell is going on for parts 2 and parts 3, but I'm telling you here, this was one of the best games of the year. It was my best game of the year, and you should go out and play it now. Especially if you have a Series S, an X, or a PlayStation 5, you can still take advantage of some of the extra hardware punch inside it, even though I know it's not next gen console optimized. But that also makes me wonder when you go between part 2 and part 3 if we're going to get to that point, which I imagine we will. We just don't know when it's going to get released. My phone's blowing up like crazy. Sorry, guys. Um, Other runner-up game of the year for me, I know a lot of you guys picked this as game of the year, and it was really a freaking toss-up. I'm telling you. Sucker Punch did an absolute outstanding job with Ghost of Tsushima, or Ghost of Tsushima, as they call it in the game. I freaking love this game. And you know what? I don't mind that Sucker Punch only released 2 games during the console cycle on PS4. It was Infamous Second Son, a slam dunk favorite, and Ghost of Tsushima, a slam dunk favorite. Could do no wrong with this game. And look, I know on the PlayStation 4 it sounded like a fucking jet engine taking off. But it was one of the most breathtaking, beautiful games to behold. And not only did it look beautiful, but the gameplay was so fluid, it was so fun. And fast traveling and everything else was fantastic. It's an absolute splendid game. The story is wonderful. I detailed it in a full review as well, just like I did with Final Fantasy VII Part 1. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. Um, Guys, don't miss Final Fantasy Remake and don't miss Ghost of Tsushima. If you haven't played them yet, it's a perfect time to play them in 2021. Don't miss it at all. So, I want to say one other thing here. As far as PlayStation 5 Game of the Year, I'll go ahead and give it to you right now. I know a lot of you are going to say Spider-Man Miles Morales. Look, I get that. I understand because of Marvel Avengers and some of the changes that were made. I'm not going to spoil everything that didn't. If you guys didn't play Spider-Man PS4 like I didn't initially, and I'm still finished the remastered because you had to get the Ultimate Edition for PS5 and Miles Morales to play it. And it's a definite. If you haven't played Spider-Man on PS4, playing the remastered version on PS5, if you got one, is the best way to go. Then you transition into Miles Morales. But the best game on PlayStation 5, the very best game on PlayStation 5, is the packaged in Astro's Playroom. It's a love affair to everything PlayStation. It plays like a Mario platformer. It's absolutely splendid. The graphics are beautiful. It takes advantage of the SSD. It takes advantage of everything inside the DualSense. The DualSense is the best controller on the market, period, bar none. End of story. It is absolutely, totally comfortable. Let me get this here before I break this down. So I have both of these in my hand. So this is your aforementioned DualShock 4 PlayStation 4 controller. This is the DualSense PlayStation 5 controller. Yes, I understand they look quite the bit similar. This PlayStation hadn't done a lot as far as changing stuff. But what you see on the outside doesn't totally indicate everything going on with the controller. So these thumbsticks, they are nice and tight, but you can still move things around very, very fluidly. They feel very comfortable. This controller is considerably bigger in the hands and it has a lot more weight to it, but it's not uncomfortable. You can play this for hours and hours and hours on end, and even if you had carpal tunnel, which I found out that I didn't have in my hands thankfully last year, it was just something else sleeping wrong. You got to sleep straight out, not like this curled up. You hurt yourself. So this is very comfortable no matter how many hours you play. These triggers are adaptive. Like I mentioned, when you're playing Astro's Playroom, if wind is blowing against you, these triggers, it'll be, oh, I can't push it all the way, can't push it all the way. But it's a good resistance. It's not impossible to push the buttons. You can feel it. You can feel the sound coming in from the speakers like you did on the PlayStation 4, but it's a little bit better. Hey, I don't have a microphone. Can you guys hear me? You can hear all that stuff here on this DualSense. Absolute fantastic controller. And it's kind of weird to me right now that PlayStation only has Linux support for this controller. It will have Windows, it will have PC support. It's got to get all of that. If it takes advantage of these adaptive triggers and everything else, it's worth the price point. And look, I'm sad that all of these games have about a $75 price point. The controller has a $75 price point. And after tax, the normal standard PS5, again, as I mentioned, 530 bucks. If you can get one. I had to get mine in line months ago and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, this is the best controller ever on the market. And I can't say that lightly. Look, I know it's just a controller, but with all of the stuff in the next gen feel and the sound bar that I picked up this year for quite a bit on sale, I think it was normal $530, something like that, for a 5.1 channel soundbar because that was the most I could have on this TV. I didn't end up buying a new TV this year. I'm going to wait a little longer until all the 4K stuff is settled, until we get that ATSC tuner to get 4K on normal on-air stuff. That soundbar I ended up getting for $220. So I had a new soundbar, the new console. That's pretty much the money that I splurged. Christmas and everything else is going to make up for that. Try to get everything else on sale. Obviously, if I would have got the PlayStation in March, it would still have been 530 bucks after tax. So look, with all that stuff that I traded in, between the PS4 and those other things, I pretty much got three games and a controller for free. So that's like, I don't know, 400, 300 some bucks like that. And you really look at it that way, pretty good deal. And since I'm getting everything right now, I'm getting a jump start on it. I really enjoyed it. So if you do have a PlayStation 5, play Astro's Playroom, get the Platinum. It's not too difficult to do that. Enjoy it because it's the best game on the console. And if you're looking at some of those other things, you say I got some PS4 games, I wonder what's compatible. Pretty much every fucking thing is compatible. So if you have like Nier Automata or some of these other games, they take advantage of that extra hardware. Games that ran at 30 frames per second lock now run at 60. Everything is smooth as butter. It's an absolutely wonderful console. No, the PlayStation doesn't have all that backwards compatibility from PlayStation 3, 2, and 1, but now it finally has PS4 support. I know the Xbox Series X and the S go way back as far as all of that. But at the end of the day, it's about the games. And look, I understand it's hard as hell to get a PS5. But if you're looking at, Xbox exclusives and things like that for the Series S and X, you're not going to find one for a couple of years. And you're also not going to find any of those right now. And granted, I know you're not going to find a lot of PS5 games right now, but I'm telling you, if you're looking for a console, screw being a PC elitist. Go enjoy your games. Go enjoy those exclusive games. Because Demon Souls, Astro's Playroom, and Spider-Man Miles Morales, you can't get on PC. I know you got Game Pass and all that stuff. So if you haven't played a lot of those other games, it's good to have Game Pass and all of that. But between Demon Souls, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Astro's Playroom, only available on PS5, and they're really goddamn good. And I hope that you enjoy them. Guys, best of luck to you in 2021. Let's pretty much kiss this fucking year goodbye. Have a drink tonight. Enjoy yourselves. And just do the best you can. We're all trying to get through this together. We will. Appreciate it, you guys. And honestly, I love you guys. Appreciate the interactions throughout the year. We will talk to you soon. Peace.